Hello, Lagos. Good afternoon. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. And these are your hard facts. First hard fact of the day: 1,270 confirmed cases yesterday. 1,270. Lagos, at this point, I'm sure that you know what I'm going to say next. I'm sure you know it by heart at this point. Take your precautions. Don't go out unless you cannot avoid it. And when you do go out, wear a mask. If you're watching me on Facebook, Nigeria Info 99.3 at the moment, you'll see that I'm wearing my mask. If you are watching on Facebook, Nigeria Info FM, on YouTube, sorry, you'll see that I'm also still wearing my mask. So I beg you, do like me, do as I do. You often like to say that our leaders are not showing example. You call me President Sandra. I'm your leader on Hard Facts, and I'm showing example, wearing my mask. So please do the same thing. Maintain your distance from people. Wash and sanitize your hands frequently. Let's keep ourselves and each other safe. Thank you again to all 970,000 of you for tuning in. I have a great show for you today. We'll start with the big three, where we'll talk about SSANU and NASUU going on a warning strike. Then we'll talk about vaccines, we'll talk about oxygen and other COVID-19 stories. Then, speaking of COVID-19, let's talk about the Nigeria Medical Association asking NIMC to suspend the NIN-SIM Integration exercise. By the way, I had a conversation with my security guard on my way to work today, and he was telling me how at Ikate, around where you get the Canadian visa, where he's gone for his registration, that they haven't given them a number yet. They've done all the things that are required of them, but they've still not been able to get their number. They've been telling them to go and come back. Their number isn't ready. And he says that there's a lot of them who are affected by this problem. And so I keep asking myself, will they really meet this deadline that they're talking about? This deadline that should go into effect by next week. And he also told me that his telecoms service has sent him a message telling him that they're going to block his line, right, if he doesn't link his number to his NIN. Now, if he has done his part and been captured and given his biometrics, and NIMC hasn't given him the number, isn't it on NIMC? Isn't it on them that he hasn't gotten his number? Should he still be disconnected? Should people like that be disconnected? Are you one of the people who's registering at Ikate? Are you experiencing the same thing? I'd like to hear from you as well when you call to talk about the final story on today's Big Three. It's Wednesday, so we're bringing you the glass ceiling. And on the glass ceiling, we're going to talk some more about cooking and how so many men are beating and even killing their partners because of cooking. Now, I'm very excited about 5 o'clock today because we're launching a new segment here on Hard Facts. It's called Balogun and Broad. It's a new kind of business show. You've never heard anything like it on radio. We're going to be talking about business as it affects you, because most people either own a business or they work for a business, right? So let's talk about the issues that affect doing business in Nigeria. Let's explore different types of businesses. Today, I'm going to be talking to the owner of an auto spare parts dealership about that line of work. But he's also going to be telling us about the traditional apprenticeship system practiced by many business people from the Southeast. They call it Igba Boy. So we'll have that conversation at 5 o'clock today. I'm looking forward to that conversation, and I hope you will be too. I recommend that you listen. It's going to be great. Now, there's news updates coming your way at the top of every hour, but let's start with today's Big Three.
This is the Big Three.
The Big Three.
On Hard Facts. On 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Will SSANU stick to their guns? Will SSANU stick to their guns? You're listening to Hard Facts on 99.3 Nigeria Info. How soon can all Nigerians get a COVID vaccine? Should NIMC listen to NMA and pause NIN-SIM integration? Those are the Big Three. Lagos, let's talk. Just as ASUU ends their strike, SANU starts theirs, and that's our first story on the show today. The Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, they're threatening an indefinite strike until government honors its agreement with them. And to show that they're serious, they've gone on a 3-day warning strike. So universities won't reopen, all things being equal, even though the ASUU strike is finally over. Now, SANU isn't doing this thing out of the blue. They told the public way back that they would do this if government doesn't meet their demands. In fact, SANU spoke with Rufai Useni here on Nigeria Info back in December. And here's the conversation they had at the time, if you don't remember.
So as it is, we are not on strike. But that does not mean that we do not have our own agitations with government. And we believe that unless those agitations are resolved, then there will be a lot of industrial unrest still in the university system.
So what are these agitations?
Well, first and foremost, the issue of IPPIS, that's the Integrated Payment Platform System that was initiated by the federal government. We joined the IPPIS, we keyed into the IPPIS when it was introduced. Mind you, the IPPIS actually was initiated about almost 5-6 years ago, not even by the Buhari government, but by the Goodluck Jonathan government. And when the Buhari government came into office and decided to uphold the IPPIS, hello, can you hear me?
I'm with you.
We keyed into it in the belief that it would be able to curb the high level of personnel fraud and personnel corruption. I must tell you at this point that the university system, as it is, the Nigerian university system is beset by high-level corruption, high-level personnel fraud in terms of claims for salaries of non-existent staff, what we call ghost workers. At the same time, claims for arrears of promotions and what have you, for promotions that were never made, and a lot of other issues that have to do with infractions that have to do with personnel and their payments. And it was against that background that we felt that, well, if government was coming with a proposal that would be able to stem the tide of this corruption, that we would be party to it. And that was the reason why we agreed ab initio to key into the IPPIS. But it was also with a proviso. And that proviso was that the IPPIS would be configured to take care and cater for the peculiarities of the university system. We have a peculiar payroll system. We have a peculiar pattern of salaries and what have you. And our demand was that, yes, while we agree and while we are in tune or in sync with government with respect to the issues of ensuring that personnel corruption in universities are curbed to the highest level, we also believe that the interests of our members in terms of the peculiarities of their salaries should be catered for under IPPIS. And it was against that background that we had a series of meetings with them last year, and at the end of the day, they came up with a demonstration of the new software that had been modified with a view to ensuring that the peculiarities of university workers were well and adequately taken care of. And it was after that that we joined. We asked our members to key into the IPPIS in November last year, which they did. And by January this year, which is making about 11-12 months now, because we are now in December, the IPPIS took effect in the university system. Unfortunately, all the assurances of ensuring that our peculiarities would be adequately taken care of were not addressed, such that at the end of the day, our members started having mutilated salaries, started having salaries that had been what I would call amputated, because at the end of the day, if you are entitled to 100,000 naira as your salary and you get an alert for 60,000, and you're asking yourself where did the remaining 40,000 go to, then we now had scenarios where some people were paid 6 months. 6 months, you just open your alert and you are finding 6 months' salaries paid up front, which of course becomes a serious challenge because that's not what you bargained for. So at the end of the day, you now start thinking of how to make a refund, who to make a refund to. We also had cases of people who registered with the IPPIS since January until date, not being on strike, not having any issues at all, but they are not being paid. They don't have salaries. So all these things led us to the belief that, look, IPPIS, despite the fact, unfortunately, that was the difference between us and ASUU. ASUU flatly refused to key into IPPIS from the get-go. But we keyed into it because we believed that, yes, there was the need for us to give government the opportunity to prove itself. And unfortunately, what government had done through the IPPIS was that it failed us. So as we are now, there are already tensions. It's not that there are existing tensions with respect to the payment through IPPIS, and it was against that background that we have rejected the continued use of IPPIS for us as a mode of payment. And SSANU and NASUU is the non-academic staff union, decided to come together because ab initio, each segment of the university has its mandate. The university is made up of different groups of people. Hello, can you hear me?
I'm with you.
Good. Academic staff, the core mandate of ASUU, or academic staff, so to speak, is for research and teaching. But when it comes to personnel payments, when it comes to salaries, when it comes to personnel, when it comes to issues of staffing and what have you, then it falls within the purview of the SSANU. Because that is where the accountants, that is where the registry staff, the university administrators, that is where the medical doctors in the health center reside, that is where the nurses belong to, that is where the engineers in the works and services belong to. So we feel that we are in the best stead to be able to come up with a software, and we also own the ICT. Our members belong to the ICT unit that provide all the web services, all the internet services, all the software applications for results and what have you. So we believe that we are in the best stead to be able to come up with a software that would be able to serve the purpose of IPPIS and also which is to curb or stem the tide of corruption, and at the same time would also be able to cater for our members and their interests.
So let me get that right. So what you're saying is variably that it's not even ASUU that is supposed to be starting up a software UTAS. It is SSANU that is supposed to be doing that work. So ASUU is not supposed to be doing that.
Exactly, it doesn't fall within their purview.
So that means that means even if ASUU gets a deal with the federal government, you're going to disagree with ASUU, and that's another wahala.
Of course, we are going to disagree. We are going to vehemently disagree.
So we should be expecting a strike once the federal government adopts UTAS and they finalize the process. Then we should be expecting another strike by SSANU, right?
Well, we should be expecting industrial unrests. The issue of strike, well, I would not want to preempt because there are organs that decide the pattern that an industrial action would take in the system. It may not necessarily translate into a strike because, like I told you earlier, we are cognizant of where we are presently as a nation. I mean, here we are talking about COVID-19. Here we are talking about a lot of things that the country has witnessed in the last. And you see, for us as a union, we are conscious of the fact that in every war, the innocents are the ones who suffer. And in this case, it is the students. So while we are engaging government, we are strongly engaging government, but strike would actually be our last resort. But of course, if at the end of the day it becomes inevitable, then we'll have to go for it. But for me at this point, it will be too preemptive for me to say that will be the outcome. But it may end up becoming the outcome, but I would not want to say that will be the outcome at this point.
And this was last year. That was an interview that Rufai had with the vice president of SSANU. His name is Abdusobo Salam. And you heard him in December 2020 tell us that they will do what they've done right now. You heard it from the horse's mouth. So there's not a lot for me to add there, really, Lagos. So let's talk. Do you think that SSANU's demands are reasonable? What do you think about their decision to go on strike? Do you think government will meet their demands? 0700-993-993-993 0700-993-993-993. You can also share your thoughts with us via WhatsApp. WhatsApp is 080-959-75805. Do you think their demands are reasonable? Do you think that their decision to go on strike is a wise one? Do you think government will meet their demands? Tega is in Lekki. Hello, Tega. Thanks for calling us.
Hello, Sandra.
Good afternoon.
Yeah. My take in all this drama, I call it drama, because it has been long. We have been battling in our education system in this country. I think it's high time federal government declare state of emergency in education, so that every party will sit down and so that they will discuss and settle everything once and for all. Let every one of us stay at home. There should be clear state of emergency in the education sector in this country. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Nigerians often say that, but I'm not sure, people know what exactly that even means. What does state of emergency in education mean exactly? 99.3, hello. Call us back if you can. 99.3. Okay, call back. Hello.
Hello?
Thanks for calling. What's your name?
Yeah, Alagi Subaru is my name.
Good to have you on the show.
Thank you very much. Is that Joy?
No, this is Sandra. Welcome.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Sandra.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, first of all, I would say I'm disappointed. I would say I'm disappointed with the embodiment of Nigeria University.
Okay.
You will say why. You will ask me why.
Why?
Because these people, they are embodiment of intellectuals. Talent.
Okay.
Intellectuals. Intellectuals, yes. So, in other words, if Senior Staff Association is not coming out now to tell Nigerians that what ASU is even fighting for, the IPPIS, is not their responsibility. So, you see, that is why, number one, I said I'm disappointed with the embodiment of university. And the Senior Staff Association is now telling Nigerians that they have agreed with the government that a lot of corruption, they agree with the government with they have keyed into it before Buhari even come to government. Basically because of corruption, because of ghost workers. And you now see one of the major issues the ASU is fighting for is this IPPIS, which they said they don't want to accept. They dragged that issue for many years back. And more so, all of them, they are embodiment of a university's, body. They know all this kind of thing is happening. You see, where you have an academician, they should not allow this kind of thing to be lingering. I mean, I expect them to have exposed whoever that is exposable. You understand?
Yeah.
In the academic sector.
Yeah.
They all keep quiet. So why are we sure they're not, it's not a gang or it's not a conspiracy issue? You understand?
Okay.
So, but I am now saying to the government, because I'm now appealing to the government, if Senior Staff Association now said they want to go on strike,
they're already on strike. They've down tools already. 3 days warning
already.
Strike. Yes,
Okay.
3 days warning
so
strike.
What I'm appealing to federal government is this: to close the whole university entirely.
Okay.
And we will know in history that the embodiment, they are the people that destroyed our youth, our younger ones' life. They are the ones that destroyed their life, and God will never forgive them. That is my own position, because they're intellectuals, and they continue to waste, like these people say, lives, because of their own service system, and their embodiment to these universities, all together. So, and what are they looking? Now, a Senior Staff Association is coming out to tell us now that, ASU is not concerned with that PPL. And you yourself, you are keen into this thing. Why can't you challenge ASU? initially when they are fighting federal government because of this IPPN. They dragged that for many months, and you keep quiet. You are not coming out when ASU is now saying they have lifted their side. Look, federal government will close that university. Nigeria will wake up, and everybody will take their children away from that school. Go and provide school for all. Let them close the university. Let them get out. You understand?
Okay.
Have a nice day.
You too, Alhaji. Thank you for calling us. Remember, new year, new hard facts. We're doing 90 seconds. Alhaji sounded like he had a lot to get off his chest, and so I gave him some extra time. But we're reverting to the old time, 90 seconds. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Everyday news brief.
The Nigerian Communications Commission has ordered mobile network operators
Shaping our present and the future.
The vast majority of men and women of the police force are hardworking and diligent in performing their duties.
Policies and its makers.
I have been crying out. What is there in our time now is that the cost of government is too much.
Community and the dwellers.
Stop playing the ostrich. I came here now and the officers are saying I cannot exercise my rights.
We bring them all to you. The news on Nigeria Info. Top of the hour, every hour. Nigeria Info News. Let's talk.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back.
We are back.
We're back on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
This is the Big Three
The Big Three on Hard Facts
on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
I am Sandra Ezekwesili, Lagos. You heard that interview that Rufai granted the Vice President of SSANU back in December 2020. Yesterday, SSANU embarked on a 3-day warning strike, and they're protesting government's actions in the past few days regarding ASUU. SSANU, of course, is the Senior Association of Nigerian Universities, and they're threatening an indefinite strike until government honors its agreements with them. And to show that they're serious, they embarked on a 3-day warning strike. SSANU, like I told you, isn't doing this thing out of the blue. The interview you listened to before the break was an interview that Rufai Useni granted back in December 2020. What are your thoughts on what SSANU is doing at the moment? What are your thoughts on their demands? Do you think their demands are reasonable? What do you think about their decision to go on strike? And do you think government is going to meet their demands? Our number is 0700-993-993. You can also send us a message via WhatsApp. WhatsApp is 080-959-75805. Tweet at us at Nigeria Info FM, or leave a comment for us on, what's it called now? Facebook, Nigeria Info FM, Nigeria Info 99.3. All right. Remember, everybody, 90 seconds. That's what you get on the show, 90 seconds. I'm waiting for them to screen a call from Sheyi so that I can pick up Sheyi's call. Hello, Sheyi. Thanks for calling us.
Yeah. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. You've got 90 seconds.
Okay. Yeah. My tip is that why can't government do away with all these associations? I mean, they should cancel all the associations, both SSANU and then ASUU. So government should take responsibility direct to themselves. Is it possible?
Why can't government do what?
Do away with all the associations.
Okay. Do away with all the what?
Associations.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Then,
I see what you mean. Okay.
Is that possible?
I don't think so. I don't think government can do away with that.
Okay. I don't understand that. All right.
That's not possible. But thank you for calling, Shay. We've got Ade on the line. Ade being there, thank you for calling us.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome. Go ahead.
Okay. About ASUU, I think first of all, when you just like NSAS protest, when they want to strike and all that, they should also think of the people that get beaten up more. The government will do theirs, but the students, how many years they want to continue wasting? They should consider those things and try to have an agreement with the federal government. But about the NIN, I think they should cancel it. Firstly, the COVID is increasing. If the government is telling us over 1,200 cases yesterday, then why are we still? They look at the crowd that are going there. If they don't find another means to get this restriction done, we have BVN, we have other means they can link it up with. Most of the questions they ask in this NIN are in our BVN. And so if they can do these things online, where we can connect it and use our BVN to, normally when you go to the NIMC office, they ask for your BVN. So why can't they do this and somebody can just do it at home instead of going there stressing each other? And they do these things frequently. Voters card will come too now. We'll all run to that same spot and start queuing again. They should find other means to do these things. Thank you.
Adebimpe, thank you so much for calling. On WhatsApp, Sandra, who is the enemy of Nigerian universities? Is it FG, ASU, SSANU, or NASUU? God help our students. Laja from Ejigun sent that message to me on WhatsApp. Charles from Lekki says, when are we going to start getting things right in Nigeria? Also on WhatsApp, we have more messages coming in, but we're going to take a look at them when we come back from talking with Emmanuel in Ogun State. Hello, Emmanuel. Thanks for calling.
Hello, good afternoon, Sandra.
Good afternoon. Welcome.
Thank you. Concerning NIN, for me, I align myself with the NMA president.
Okay.
I appeal to federal government to stop it, but I will know that federal government will never listen to that advice because I know there is something behind it.
Okay.
Okay, this thing started about 3 years ago, and they registered 42 million subscribers. And security situation in Nigeria has not changed. It's even worse now. Let me tell you something, Sandra. Even though if they register, if all of us in this country get that number, situation will never, security situation in this country will never change. Their target is 2023. And God has exposed them through Tony Elibelu as of rep when he said that their target is NSAS protesters. But we Nigerians, we are very, very gullible. These people, they are coming back 2023. Let me tell you, they want to monitor account of youth. They don't want youth to come to government. They are coming back. We Nigerians, we are very, very gullible. Okay, now see, those people, they went on strike for 2 days. Federal government, they quickly settle them. They come back. See ASU, they were on strike for almost 9 months. Federal government never bother. But this one, within 2 days, they settle them to come back. Their target is 2023. I tell you. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much for calling us. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on the show. I'll just make a slight correction there. Tony Elumelu is the guy at UBA. The person that my friend meant to talk about was another Elumelu. His name is Ndudi Elumelu. All right, let me bring you our second story. For our second story, we're looking at the latest news in Nigeria's war on COVID-19. In this second wave, more patients are having breathing problems. Those are not my words. Those are the words of Akin Abayomi. Akin Abayomi is the Lagos Health Commissioner. We've already heard from Chikwe Hekwazu yesterday, the NCDC boss, that serious symptoms are more common this time. Now, Abayomi is giving us details. And he says that's the reason why oxygen has become a bigger deal this time around compared to last year. Those patients with respiratory issues need oxygen. And apparently, the state can no longer produce enough to meet demand. I told you about the new oxygen plant at IDH. And even with that, we still have a serious oxygen shortfall here in Lagos. Now, I already told you that we are expecting 100,000 vaccines this month and in February, right? And I told you that those vaccines are mostly going to be reserved for health workers. Now, I can tell you that the World Health Organization will be supervising the pre-qualification and selection of those health workers. That's according to Ben Akabweze. Ben Akabweze is the head of the federal government's budget office. But apart from the health workers, a few doses will also be set aside for the president, the governors, and other key government officials. They're going to get vaccinated live on television. And it makes me want to ask you, if you saw President Buhari and Governor Sanwo-Olu getting the shot, getting vaccinated, will that make you willing to take it? I'm asking those who are not sure that they will take the vaccine. If you saw our leaders, Governor Sanwo-Olu, President Buhari, taking the shot on live TV, would you take it? Would that make you willing to take it? But yeah, that's what will happen with those first 100,000 doses for the first 50,000 people. Now, what about the rest of Nigeria? Akabueze says that there's a plan. He says that over the course of the year, Nigeria will receive 80 million more vaccines. And next year, we're going to get 60 million. Now, as I've explained to you before, these vaccines are coming from COVAX. They are an organization sourcing the vaccine from different manufacturers on behalf of poorer countries. And Akabueze is saying that 20% of the vaccines we need will be donated to Nigeria, so government will not pay for those ones. But to achieve herd immunity, we need to vaccinate 70%. So the government has to pay for the remaining 50% or more. And the finance minister, Zainab Ahmed, says we are on it. She says a new supplementary budget will be raised for buying vaccines this year. Meanwhile, the Anambra state government has postponed the reopening of schools by 2 weeks. Governor Willie Obiano, he doesn't believe that January 18th gives schools enough time to prepare for COVID. He has also extended the ban on going outside without a face mask. So that's the update. These are the major COVID stories right now. What do you think about Anambra's postponement of school reopening? What do you think about Nigeria's plans for vaccines? Does it inspire confidence? Would seeing your elected officials taking the vaccine live encourage more people to take it when the vaccines are available? And what do you think about the oxygen supply problem in our hospitals? 0700-993-993 0700 993 993. You can still talk about SSANU and NASUU when you call. That was our first story on today's Big Three. And we still have one more story to get through before the end of the Big Three. Remember, it's Wednesday, so between 4 and 5, we're going to talk about cooking. Who should do it? Between 5 and 6, we'll launch a new segment on hard facts for the new year. It's called Balogun and Broad. And on Balogun and Broad, we're going to talk about business as it affects those on Broad Street and those on Balogun Street. Let's talk to Nwabweze in Ejigbo. Hello, Nwabweze. Thanks for calling. Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for calling us, Nwabweze. Go ahead. Nwabweze, are you there? Oh, that's unfortunate. Call back if you can. Hello. Hello. Okay. Sorry about that. If you can, please call us back. The number to call is 0700 993 993 993. 0700 993 993 993. We've got Adeleke on the line. Hello, Adeleke. Thanks for calling.
Yeah.
All right, welcome. Go ahead.
You see, whether SSANU, NASUU, or government, we need to come back to the reality. Okay. There is what we call sincerity of purpose. Government, once the government has done their own part, all these people, they need to follow the rules. They are the conflict of interest is among them. They are not after the future of the children any longer. They are only after their own pockets. Why? What are we now saying? Are we talking of the future? Where we want to talk now, the government has failed. What about every parastatal, everybody, even including the NASUU, the SSANU? What are we saying? The corruption is everywhere. The journalists there, if they want to dish out any information, they will have to pay them and give fake information, not you. Those are the things we need to check ourselves. As now changes the set of things. Let them settle their anchor. These children, is getting out of hand. They are just there, miscount, a lot of things out of them. Some are even indulging in all sorts of crimes. And we are saying this government, this Nigeria, the politicians have failed us. What about all those people as well? Let us come back to ourselves. The attitudinal changes ourselves. Let's think of the general, the general concern before talking of the personal interest. God bless Nigeria. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Adeleke. Thank you very much for calling us. 99.3.
Good afternoon.
How are you? What's your name?
Okay,
take it. Welcome back.
For me, I will see
You're sounding very far away.
As for me, I will gladly get this vaccine. I will take it. I will send it because I am expecting it. I can't wait. And I think I can now believe there is a COVID-19 because my boss uncle, under oxygen. So I 100% believe there's coronavirus out there now.
So you had to wait for your boss's uncle to be on oxygen before you believed it.
Before they did say among people that say, I never expect we get out. I never even know person we get out. But me, finally, I know someone that got sick. So I don't believe. So for me, I will not wait because my president took it or governor took it. I will not before I can able to take it. If they like, let them come and start on. For me, I will gladly take it.
Okay.
I will take it when I was kid. Then so it's a good thing. Let us all embrace it. Let us all encourage and take it. Yes, that's my
Tega, thank you for calling. Okay, it's interesting. A lot of the loudest voices that you love, who have gotten the virus. Some of them have gotten it twice even, and they're in isolation and they spent a lot of time telling you, oh, it's not real until they got it, and the message changes as soon as they get it. I'm hoping that you don't wait until someone gets it to take it seriously. Vincent in Egbeda, welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Sandra. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I am an ardent listener to. I am an ardent listener to your station, and I just said what you said. I listened to Governor Yaya Bello the other day, and this COVID thing is a hoax. And I don't know why they are forcing it on every one of us.
Did you hear the caller who just called and said his boss's uncle is on oxygen at the moment?
What?
Did you hear the caller who just dropped the call before you and said that his relative is on oxygen?
Well, I don't know, but then...
no, did you hear him? He said so. His relative is on oxygen because of COVID. Did you hear him say it? A caller like you called in and said it.
I had to switch off my radio.
Oh, okay. But a caller like you called in and said it just before I picked your call. How do you think he feels hearing you saying that a disease that someone in his family is dealing with at the moment is a hoax? Thank you for calling, Vincent. In our third story, the Nigeria Medical Association says NIMC should pause the NIN-SIM Integration exercise because of COVID-19. We heard it directly from the NMA president, Professor Innocent Uja. He said, quote, "This NIN exercise should be suspended for now. Crowding in one place for the exercise will increase the death of people from COVID-19. Suspending the NIN exercise will not lead to death. The exercise can resurface later after it has come down," end quote. So now we've heard from the NMA president that this exercise will, in his words, increase COVID-19 deaths. We also heard from the Minister of State for Health, Adeleke Mamora, yesterday, and he said the exercise was possibly a, quote, super spreader event. We heard from him over the weekend, So two of the highest leaders of the health sector in the nation, both in government and in the medical profession, have come out to ask NIMC and the Ministry of Communications to pause this event as a public health risk. And so many Nigerians are asking, why has the Communications Ministry not taken this advice? Issa Pantami, the minister, says the crowds are not his ministry's fault. I'm working on bringing him on the show so that we can ask him how exactly the crowds are not the fault of the ministry. He says the public is at fault because people are choosing to gather there, even when they don't have an appointment. He also said the crowds are not listening to police when police is asking them to disperse. Some Nigerians say it doesn't matter. Even if this is true, it doesn't matter. These Nigerians say that as long as there are crowds that big and the ministry cannot control them, then the ministry should either pause the exercise or extend the deadline far enough that people stop rushing to the centers due to panic. And when you take into consideration people like my gate man, who told me this afternoon that he's been going to that place in Ekate where you get Canadian visas, going there, and they've still not given him a number, and he's getting messages from his subscriber telling him that they will block his line, and the deadline is fast approaching. When you factor that in, you find that the deadline they gave is not enough. The crowds gathering because of that deadline isn't worth it. Simply isn't worth it. Some Nigerians are also asking what this says about coordination within the federal government, because the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Communications are both, well, ministries. The ministers see themselves every Wednesday at the NEC virtual meeting. So people are asking how it is possible that they can have such a fundamental agreement about a life and death issue for millions of Nigerians and not resolve it up until now. And remember that there's a presidential task force on COVID led by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa. On all COVID matters, the PTF is supposed to have an official position, and government is supposed to execute the will of the PTF. So the question is, what is the PTF's position on continuing the NIN-SIM integration, and why have they not made that position public? Why haven't they done that? We've got Bayo in Ikeja on the line. Hello, Bayo. Thanks for calling.
Oh, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, thanks. Okay. Well, let me just take you from what I've been listening to people, and I've been listening to your, guiding talks and all that, concerning these 3 bigs, forever. But let me just take you from what I've just said now. You see, I don't want to talk about this coronavirus of a thing.
Bayo?
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
When you see a lot of people having a kind of biased mind or raising a kind of opposition, to this issue of coronavirus and all that, what you have just said now, is very, very fighter. One of the fighter reasons why, an average Nigerian don't believe in it. Federal government or even the executives, or these are our leaders, so to say, when we talk about influencers, okay, they are mainstream of the influencers. What I mean is that people look up to them and they believe that whatever thing they say is definitely real. Okay? Now you have used your office to, like I always say, give us, people like us, a platform to hear our voice, and a lot of people, to hear their own opinion. But when we are now...
Hello, Bayo.
Hello?
Bayo, are you still there?
Yes, I'm there.
I can hear you. Go ahead, Hello? No, wow. Bayo, you have to call me back. Bayo was making a point about, the I don't know if he was going to go ahead and make that point about leaders, saying things that you cannot trust or something along that line. But we all know that government does the wrong thing most of the time when their interest is involved. Government knows that NIN is the wrong thing right now due to COVID. If you decide that because government is doing the wrong thing, you will endanger yourself and you stop taking precautions, you will die and government will still be there. So I don't even know if that's a good excuse anymore, a good enough reason anymore. Dennis in Ijegun is on the line. Hello, Dennis.
President Sandra, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Now, let's look at it from this angle. If the government is actually sensitive to the plight of the people, will they ever, people in right frame of mind ask people to go and kill? You are fighting war and you are depriving them of food. This is how it is now. There is a deadly, we say it's not a killer, and we all know it's a killer. A sickness that requires oxygen. Oxygen is not a killer. Now, the government, this is why people don't believe there is corona outside there. Because by the time the government is giving utmost attention to this, they don't go out. All they want to do now is people should contract it in millions and lock us down that the number is so high. This is exactly what they are doing. I don't really understand whether people in government are not people who have seen the 4 walls of education, or they don't see what is happening in other climes in the world. You don't want people to contract this, and people are They sweat, they rub all this on each other in a very crowded manner.
But you have other government ministries telling NIMC to stop.
But who is taking it? Who is taking directives? Who is taking instruction? Who is taking directives? Who is enforcing this?
My point is, you can't generalize and say government isn't agreeing, because you have other ministries telling NIMC, stop doing what you're doing. Some government agencies are saying, take precautions. It's not their fault that NIMC is not listening.
Sandra, can you call the presidency and ask him to stop? The president is dead. These people are taking directives from a certain body. It's very easy for you to tell me, oh, I've exhausted my time, and you cut me off. Who is going to question that? If there is a directive today, 7 o'clock news, the president say no more queuing for NIMC, won't it stop immediately in the next 24 hours? Won't it stop?
Good question.
It will stop immediately now, because they want people to contract it more, so that more problems will be created, more money will be generated, people will donate for them to come and eat. That's exactly what they are doing.
All right. Thank you for calling. We appreciate it. We've got more calls coming in. Lagos. What do you think of the NMA president saying that the NIN exercise will increase the deaths of Nigerians? What do you think about the junior health minister calling this thing a super spreader event? And what do you think about NIMC and the communications ministry not responding to this issue just yet? 0700 993 993 993. Let's take a look at messages that you've left for us on WhatsApp. WhatsApp is 080 959 75805. 080 959 75805. We've got someone who says, Sandra, that Alhaji spoke like a sympathizer of the current party and government in power. All right, Kenny, thank you for your message. I don't know what you heard. I definitely didn't hear what you heard that is giving you that impression, but thank you for sending your message in. Ebuka in Shomolu, welcome.
Sandra, why are you calling me Shomolu?
I said Ebuka in Shomolu. You're not in Shomolu.
Okay, yeah. I only heard Shomolu. I was wondering that. Good afternoon, Sandra. I don't thought you Ezekwesili.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you today?
Good.
Yeah, Sandra, this is very simple. I mean, I've talked, but I just want to say it's quite simple. I'm surprised that even after the strike, they recalled the workers and they resumed work. I wonder why the workers will even resume work in the first place. Why should they even go back to work to start with? And then there's no other way to say it than this is surely going to spread. In fact, it has even spread this virus already. The only problem we are having in this country is because we're not having enough testing. People are carriers already. We're not beginning to see people in their thousands being affected openly. I just keep praying to God that the government, or the agency involved, should do the right thing. But all these people crying that they should stop. I don't think they meant business. Sandra, if they mean business, they will stop this thing. And Nigerians should even stay away. I have said already that this thing should be a continuous exercise. What's the rush for? What is the rush for? This has been my question. It should be a continuous exercise. That's all. Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you for calling. Always keeping to time. That's what I love about Ebuka. We've got a message here from Noah in Mushin who says, NIMC or NCC or any ministry behind this have an agenda. According to Mr. Elumelu, which I heard, if I had my way, I'll sue the ministries involved in this NIMC NIN registration to court on account for attempted murder because they know this virus is deadly and they're allowing people to cluster for this yet to be necessary NIN NIMC thing. Well, I think Monde Obani, a former leader of the NBA in Lagos, took them to court for wanting to block his SIM card. So we'll see how that goes. Aurora from Ayobo says, Sandra, who did we offend in this country? They know make we go school again. Boko Haram doesn't want us to go to school. Government also doesn't want us to school. Are they Okay. All right, then. Thank you for sending that message in. I want to appeal to SERAP, civil liberty organizations, NBA, any other right groups to go to court to secure a court order to stop NIN registration for now until COVID-19 cases drastically reduce. We've got Alex from VI who says, let the Information Minister Adesina speak on this. In fact, this government is on a slippery floor and they can call at any time. Okay, thank you for your message. Sandra, lockdown or no lockdown, the federal government are not sincere with themselves. It seems there's a power tussle among them. How can the PTF on COVID-19 not be able to advise the Communication Ministry on the need for crowd gathering for NIN registrations? In the event of COVID-19 second wave, there shouldn't be need for that kind of exercise. It means they are out of ideas on how best to protect their citizens. Adebayo here in Lagos sends that message in. We've got a message here. There is more to this strife between SSANU and NASUU. There's no smoke without fire. Both of them have personal ulterior interests that they don't want to let go. They should work together as brother and sister for the sake of our students. And on COVID, the president is not aware about this disagreement between Ministry of Communication and Health. Then what is the basis of the FEC meeting that they have? The president should give an order, Temitope says. Temitope, thank you for your message. What about those states that don't have any oxygen plants? What will happen to COVID-19 patients in those states? That's a good question. You know, a friend of mine once said that COVID-19 is the rewarder of preparedness. If you are very prepared, your healthcare system is able to take care of certain things. If you are not prepared, COVID-19 will show your bomb to the world. And that's what's happening with all over the world. Some countries are better prepared than other countries. Some countries have better healthcare infrastructure than other countries. And, use your hand and decide where Nigeria falls in that equation. We've got Onyekachi from Iba who says, Sandra, even if Buhari sits in front of me and takes the vaccine, I will still not take it. He will take the real vaccine and give us the masses water as vaccine. Never trust this government. Onyekachi, that's not even possible. There's no way you will take water as vaccine. Goodness. Oh, my God. Speaking of, we've got a message from Goodness in Agege. Goodness says, school's resumption should be postponed until next month, just like the Anambra governor did. 18th of this month is too close. What are our children rushing to learn? It's not fair to them. Learning cannot be done under stress. All right, Goodness. Thank you for sending your message in. More messages on WhatsApp. Here's this one from... I've taken that one before. Okay. The easiest way out with the university issue in Nigeria is to prevent all Nigerians schooling abroad. Trust me, that issue will be a thing of the past. Daddy Jeff from Ikoyi claims. All right, Daddy Jeff. Thank you for sending your message in. Now, don't forget, between 4 and 5, we'll have a conversation about cooking. Who do you think should do it? We started that conversation last week, and it caused quite the debate right here on the show. So we'll have that conversation again and see where it goes, see where it leads us, see what people think, see what people have to say. I'll bring in Yvonne to talk about it, but she's the news lady, and I try to leave her as the news lady so that people don't say, why is she reading this for us? She just told us that women and men, oh yeah. Lagos, stay here. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. Don't go away.
For the best talk. So your state governor is said to have ordered immediate employment of 5,000 youths. Don't we need more of these?
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.